Alright, so this is gonna be a quick follow-up video to the video that I made last night about nature versus nurture. And on the flip side of things, I do just want to say that regardless of your upbringing, regardless of your circumstances, regardless of the conditions in which we were raised, and everyone's obviously gonna have their own journey, right? All in all, and I want to keep this short, everything that has happened is already written and it's in the past. And just know, because certain um, unfortunate circumstances might have happened to you, as they happened to me, as they happened to everybody, just know that if you have time, there's always time to rewire the pathways in your brain, to to transform, the neuroplasticity inside the human brain. And it's never easy, and nothing worth fighting for ever is. But if you still have time, there's always time to rewire the pathways and the trains of thought and these streets and peaks and valleys that we have with, wired inside our head, our tendencies, our habits, our well, yeah, our habits, our tendencies, whether they're, good or bad. More than likely, you'd want to keep the good and get rid of the bad, right? You want to hold on to the positive and get rid of the negatives. But in life, you can't have one without the other, as it always is. It's like this, Buddhism, whatever you want to call it. There has to be a balance between the two. You know, that's why God, even though He doesn't want to admit it, He needs the devil, because without the devil, there is no God. Without positivity, there is no negativity. Without negativity, there is no positivity. So I don't want to ramble on too long, because we all know I excel at that marvelously. And people might say, "Whoa, where the fuck do I start? I don't know. I don't know how to. I don't. I'm not. I don't think that way. I don't. I don't really. I don't know. Just find what works for you. You want to gaze at the stars. Want to go by the beach and see the sunset. Want to go out and watch some bands perform live music. Whatever works for you. But know that it's you, and that's what works for you. I just it sounds fucking, you know, Chuck E. Cheesy as fuck, but what does it for me is just reading books about, like, whether like these like old school philosophers from like the 17th and 18th century, or just reading like a deep dive book on the lives of people like, Sir Isaac Newton, or Galileo Galilei, or Leonardo da Vinci, or whatever, and even these motherfuckers throughout their whole life, they're being told that you're wrong, you're insane, you're stupid, you don't know what you're talking about. You got religion down your throat saying, no, 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 you can't do this, you can't do that, you're going to burn in hell for all eternity, you're opposing the church, you're opposing God, you're opposing, the state, you can't do that, no, 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 no. But if there's anything that you can take from those stories and those people and their lives, is that history always repeats itself. And if you don't learn from history, you're just only doomed to repeat it. And I mean, that's all we can really do at the end of the day, is try and not make those same mistakes that our forefathers made. And I guess saying the word "same mistakes" is kind of, it's pretty broad, and Can mean anything, but what the fuck? I guess it's still recording. Anyway, God, I forgot what the fuck I was going on about. Anyway, just gonna leave it at that. This phone gave me a weird fucking notice, and I thought it stopped recording, but apparently it's still recording. So anyway, all in all, point of the story is that just know that the past is already written, and you can rewire your mind, your brain, into a newer, better version of yourself. And it's not gonna happen overnight, and it does take time. And I can go into how I did that for myself, and sometimes I have to remind myself that I did indeed do that. And sometimes it's like everything. We go through these emotional peaks and valleys, and sometimes we just got to find a new route. There's billions, trillions of pathways in the human brain, and we get comfortable. We get used to only using a very small percentage of those pathways. It's like you get off of work and you take the same route to work, right? You're on your way back home. You take the same route all the time. Why? Because I don't know. It's the closest, most convenient route. I get off on Main, then I take Border, then I get on the expressway, and then I get off, and then I go home. And it's just this wash, rinse, repeat cycle, right? You go to work, you take the same route. You get off of work, you take the same route back home. But the human brain shouldn't, at least in my opinion, the human brain shouldn't be. There's so much potential. There's so much potential. Yet, I think society has conditioned us to only use a very small percentage of our brain, and we get used to just using those same pathways, that same route to work, the same route back to work. But we have to grow and reach higher levels of enlightenment, or whatever the fuck you want to call it. But know that they are attainable. They are attainable. Um, and we're just being conditioned to just push the cranks, turn the lever, and shut up and just be happy with what you got, and that's it. But just know that the most amazing, or at least possesses the most amazing, amount of potential in the history of evolution at this point in time is the human brain. And there's 8 billion of us, and we're all sharing a fucking planet. And the sooner we realize that, the better. But, you know, going off about greed and people in power and all that, that's a whole nother thing. But anyway, if you have a 3-pound brain, if you have a 3-pound universe on your shoulders, just realize that there's tons and tons of untapped potential, and just don't let it go to waste, because we're all here on borrowed time. And when we die, we're gonna give it all back to the universe. Matter cannot be created nor destroyed. The iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones, the carbon that makes up your anatomy, this physical state. When we die, we're all just gonna give it back to the universe, and nothing's gonna really be wasted or recycled. It's just gonna evolve into this next ongoing infinite process that just goes on forever and ever and ever. So we're all here on borrowed time, and before we give these elements back to the universe, might as well try and make the best of it while we're here. Might as well try and make the best of it while we're here.